Welcome to section 2 of tips and strategies of how to properly show a house to clients as a beginning realtor. I'm your professor, Adam Ashba of Ashmont Realty, and today we're going to go over the basics of how to properly show your client a home. I know that sounds simple. I know a 5-year-old could unlock the front door and show them around. I get that, but there's everything that you do, there's a reason behind it. We're going to go over those tips and strategies that's going to help you in the real estate process flow that we've talked about on other videos. So now, if you have not watched the first module, episode 1 of this training session, please do that. That builds us up to this point in which we are actually in the field and in an actual listing. And we're going to go over just very simple tips and etiquettes right now. So stay with us. All right, guys, welcome to our showing. So the first step that we talked about, module 1, is actually establishing a showing time that's best for you and your client. So say, for example, we're going to do a 10 a.m. showing. I want you to get there about 10 to 15 minutes early. And I'm going to show you why here in a second, so follow me. Okay, so every house has a way that you enter in the property, in one shape or another. 99% of all of them, no matter what market you're in, is going to be a lockbox like this one. Okay, you're going to receive the way of entering a home with the showing information that we looked at on the data sheet. Okay, so now we've received our lockbox code. We're going to go ahead and enter in the house. Remember, 10 to 15 minutes before your clients get here, because what we're going to do is, as soon as we get into the house, we're going to turn on all the lights and we're going to get the house ready to show, because 99% of the time, even if someone's living there, all the lights and things won't be opened and the drapes to let all the light in. So we want to make sure we set the stage for our buyers to get a really good feel about this house. Okay, so let's go ahead and go inside. All right, so we're in. Again, about 10 to 15 minutes before your client gets here, you have your data sheet in your hand or on your tablet. And next step is we got to get all the lights turned on, because if you notice, as you look around, there's no lights or anything turned on. And you want to make sure you set get the lighting right and open up all the curtains and windows. I even open up sliding glass doors sometimes if it's a beautiful fall or summer day. Let the fresh air in, because all those things are really important when you buy a home. Smell, feel, visual, all of that creates that lifestyle that we sell as realtors. So next step is we're going to go run through the house quickly, not too quickly, get on all the lights, get the house ready, opened up to show it. And while you do that, I want you to start taking mental notes of the layout of the house, where the master bedroom is, where's the basement, where's the garage. That way, when the client comes in, you can give them a tour without really giving them a tour. And it really makes you look professional, that you understand the property, and it kind of helps them, guide them without the pressure of following them around. So let's go ahead and get the house set up and get started. Okay, great. House is set up, ready to go. We're just waiting for our clients. And what we're going to do during this time is I want you, especially if you're showing multiple houses in a single day, is I want you to become really familiar and kind of refresh your memory about this particular property. So I want you to go on your data sheet and start looking at key things such as square footage size, a little bit about the community, property taxes, and things like that. So, because remember, 95% of all the questions a client's going to have about a house is going to be on your data sheet. That's why it is your Bible when the home buying process. So we're just going to study that a little bit. Once you get that done, if they're running a little late, play on your cell phone, check your emails, whatever you need to do in the meantime. So we're going to wait patiently for our client to get here. And once they arrive, we'll go to the next step. Okay, guys, your client has finally arrived. Finally. So now you're not stuck in this empty house alone. So this is pretty basic, guys. Really, all of your legwork has been, everything you've done has really set you up for this point. So as your client arrives, I want you to welcome them in the front door, just like you were greeting a guest. So we're going to go to the front door. Hey guys, come on in. Simple as that. Pretty cheesy. And as they walk in the front door, you're going to see them looking around immediately. Okay? I can't tell you, and I don't have any data, but I can tell you from doing this hundreds of times that a buyer knows if they're interested in a property the first 60 seconds that when they walk in that front door. Okay, so here's a tip and tricks, all right? I don't care if it's one person or if it's a couple or a whole family. When they enter in that front door, I want you to greet them, right? As they enter in the front door, I want you to welcome them. Hey, welcome to East Main Street. This is that 2-bedroom, 2.5-bath condo that I showed you here in this beautiful city of Powell, Ohio. Okay. This is the one that the condo fees are $230 a month, and there is no clubhouse, but they do cover water, trash removal, and snow removal, right? So give them just a broad overview of the condo to refresh their memory, because remember, they're probably looking at hundreds of homes on Zillow and Realtor and Truly and things like that, right? That you're sending them through the MLS. Just give them a refresher. As they walk in the door, after you give them your spiel, I call it, back off. The next thing I do, just give them space to absorb it all in. This is a huge decision for them. The next thing that I do, I say, okay guys, all the bedrooms are upstairs, the basement's down here, the garage is over here, and just kind of play maitre d', okay? Just kind of show them where they need to go, what to check out, and do not hover. Just let them walk around and tour the property. Okay, now, if the house, there's someone living there, and they have personal possessions and nice property and things, you might have to hover a little bit to make sure that the kids don't get into anything they shouldn't be or what have you. But the key to it is, guys, is let them walk around, give them the space to make a decision while they're here. Okay? All right? Let's go to the next step. Okay, your clients took a look at the house and they're kind of interested. And don't be shy, guys. Ask them directly. Hey, guys, what do you think? Do you think this is something that you would like? I use this word all the time. You're not going to offend me. What do you guys think of this place? I don't own it. I use that line all the time. And if they say, you know what? I don't know. It has potential. This might be something that can work. Great. The next thing that I do, and I tell them, and this is going to make you a better realtor than 0.75% of the other realtors out there, is, well, let's take a look more in depth of the house. We're going to have the house inspected, as you know, agents, through the real estate process flow that we teach you. But there are a lot of things that you can cover at this point, which is critical to alleviate any issues that we're going to run down the road with the inspection. So if a client says, yeah, I'm kind of interested in this place, we're going to take them and start looking at some critical, expensive things that could go wrong with the property so they understand what they're going to get into purchasing this investment. One of those things, if you think about what's something very expensive in a home, is the heating and cooling system. So what I'll do at this point, I'm going to take the clients, if they're interested. If they're not, we're leaving. We're not wasting time. But if they are, we're going to take them and take a look at the heating and cooling system in the property, which is, in this house, is down in the basement. Okay, guys, we're here where the heating and cooling system is located in this house. This is a very costly thing that a potential buyer will encounter during the process of owning a home. It's very important that realtors understand the longevity of a heating and cooling system as well as the cost in your area. I know it sounds silly, but some parts of the state is a lot cheaper than some of the other areas. So kind of have a general idea. It doesn't have to be exact, but have an idea of what a heating and cooling system would cost in your area. Now, this is a furnace, and this is a ream furnace. Okay, this is a standard HVAC system, furnace and air condenser unit, which we'll look at later outside. Where I live, these can run anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000, and they last about 20 to 25 years, rule of thumb. Obviously, just like a car, some cars are built better than others. But I want you to make sure that while you're showing the home that you're looking at these units to let the client know that this, for example, is an original unit to the property. This property was built in 06. This is 2020. This unit is 14 years old. So I know statistically, through home warranty statistics, this unit will probably last another 5 years. If your client is wanting to live in this property for another 10 to 20 years, more than likely this unit will have to be replaced. Okay? Now your inspector will tell you that. However, you as an agent should be knowledgeable enough to say, listen, if you want to pursue this property, this is something you're going to have to take care of. So don't let this become an issue before after you go into contract. Address it immediately so you're not getting in some sort of argument, because it's not fair to the seller that you try to deduct the cost of that unit off the already agreed sale price, because you, as the agent, should have told your buyer that this unit should be replaced in 5 years. If it's functioning well, just like this one is, then there's nothing you can do. You can't ask to have it replaced because it's functioning fine. But it will have to be replaced, no different than a car, probably in the next 5 years. The next thing we'll look at is the heating, the hot water tank. Okay? Hot water tanks are a little less expensive. They range anywhere from $800 to $1,500 depending on your area. Now, hot water tanks last about 10 years. Now, this one, at the bottom, if you can see, there is some burning and some rust and things. This looks like the actual original tank to this property. Now, remember, this property is 14 years old. That unit is probably 14 years old, so this unit will probably need to be replaced soon. It is functioning, there's nothing wrong with it, it does work, but this is definitely going to be something that's going to be needed to replace. So your buyer needs to be considering they're going to have to set aside $1,000 or so to have that replaced soon, because that's going to be coming up. Okay, so let's go ahead and move outside of the property. We're going to look at some other critical things that can be very costly to your buyer that they need to know before putting in an offer. Okay guys, we are outside of the property now, and there's a couple things that we really want to take a look at. First is, we talked about the air conditioning unit. This behind me is what's called an air conditioner condenser. Okay, some people call it an AC unit, whatever's fine. These units are what's used to cool the home, and in certain areas they get really beat up. Now mind you, this is exposed to the sun, the snow, the rain every day of its life. Now AC condensers, depending on your area, can range anywhere from $2,000 to $4,000 depending on the size of the unit. Bigger homes require bigger units, but check your local area for costs, because these last a little less than the furnace because they just get beat up. They're out constantly in the elements, but these typically last around 15 years, maybe 20. Now if you look at this unit, now remember, there's not going to be many dates on these units. Some furnaces might have an install date on them, but if you look at this clearly, this is not a new unit. Okay, this unit is probably 14 years old, the same as the furnace and air conditioner, or the furnace inside. So you know what, let's be honest, there's going to be a point in time in the next maybe 2 to 5 years that this is going to probably fail and need to be replaced. So your buyer needs to know that this is something that needs to be replaced during the time that they plan on living in that property. Okay, all right, last thing that we check is just the exterior of the property itself, the roof, rotting wood, and things like that. The inspector is going to catch that, but those are visual things that we can see as we walk through the property. So as we walk through the property, we're going to visually inspect things like the trim, rotted wood, and the roof. Now the roof on this property looks pretty good. It could be original. We're not sure. I don't know. We'll have to check on that. But it's actually in very good shape. Most roofs, depending on the quality of the shingles that are placed on that property, can last anywhere from 20 to 40 years. So what we'll want to do is more than likely that this property has the original roof on the property. So we know that as with a 14-year-old property as this one, that the roof longevity is probably good for another 5 to 10 years. But again, if the client plans on living here for the next 20 years of their life, they have to anticipate that they might have to put a new roof on it. So let's recap. The client loves the home. Okay. They would like to put in an offer, but before we do that, we have to remember what are some things that might come up as an issue or major expense for our buyers. Well, one, we talked about the furnace. The furnace is 14 years old. It's probably going to need to be replaced in the next 5 to 7 years. The air conditioner, no question. That is going to be, you could see the age and the wear on it. That's going to be needed to be replaced in the next 3 years, more than likely. The hot water tank, it's probably 14 years old. They only last about 10, so they're on house money right now on their hot water tank. So, with that being said, does your buyer put in a full price offer, even though this house is correctly priced? I don't know. But the thing your buyer cannot do, we need as realtors to understand and educate our buyers that these are issues that are going to come up. Obviously, they'll have them inspected, but your inspector is going to tell you exactly what I'm covering today, folks. So when you put your offer in, Your buyer has to put the offer in to understand that this offer is going to reflect the repairs that are going to be needed in the future on this property. So that way, when you have the home inspected, the buyer is not caught off guard. I can't tell you how many times, folks, that I have a listing and buyers after inspection tell me that the furnace in the property is 20 years old and it'll need replaced soon. I could have told them that if I showed them the house personally. It's your responsibility, agents, to educate your buyers. Make yourself a better agent than the other agents out there. Okay. All right, guys, I hope this helps give you a little bit more confidence in the process flow of showing a home to a potential buyer. Again, you're going to be nervous, you're going to be scared, and that is okay. We've all been there before. But again, just follow simple steps. 1, do some due diligence on comparables on the house that you're going to be looking at. Okay. 2, get to know the community, the area in which your buyer might be living. Okay. 3, give your buyer space as they look around at the property and allow them to absorb what they're looking at and be able to talk to their significant other during the process of viewing the property. So give them space, back off, stay in the kitchen as they kind of look around. Do not hover. Don't pressure your buyers. And then the last step is give them space again to allow them to decide if this is going to be the right home with them. What I do is after we look at that property, I tell them once you go home, just take an hour to depress, and then I'll call you in an hour or 2. And then if you think this is the right house, let's move fast and furious before someone takes it. So thank you for watching this tutorial on tips and tricks for home buyer basics. And we will see you next time on Ashmont University. Again, this is Adam Ashba, president of Ashmont University. If you haven't liked and subscribed, please do below. We're happy to hear any comments or questions that you might have as a new agent. But please do that. And thank you for watching.